Hi, everyone. Michael P. Spradlin, and I'm back with chapter 28 of The Enemy Above as we go through this read along. And I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. I do realize and have seen that in some parts of the country, businesses and places are reopening and people are going back to a somewhat semblance of our previous life. And I hope if you live in one of those areas that you'll still be cautious, that you'll still be safe, that you'll practice the social distancing, you'll wear a mask. Let's go through this and see if we can do it in the way that Abraham Lincoln said, that if we can find the better angels of our natures in this, and be kind to one another, be courteous to one another, look out for one another. Wearing a mask is not a big deal. You may not be sick, but you may be carrying the coronavirus. You could get someone else sick, and they could get someone else sick, and they could get someone else sick. This virus is vicious, and it's deadly, and we can get through it. It's no fun doing this. I get that. It's no fun staying home. It's no fun doing all these things, but we can do it for each other, I think. And I think that's that we can all choose to be kind. And so here we are, chapter 28, The Enemy Above. Sergeant Weigert, who drove the truck, was an unrelenting talker. Despite Von Deusen's gruff one-word answers, Weigert droned on and on. Even when Carl did not answer him at all, he was not deterred. Within a few kilometers, Carl swore he knew the man's entire life history. How Weigert was born in Dresden, but grew up in Dusseldorf. His father was an engineer, and his mother died when he was 16. He dropped out of college to join the army, and on and on and on. Von Deusen had no interest in any of his yammering. He was looking for the right spot to implement his plan. So far, nothing had proved suitable, but he knew the territory well from rounding up Juden. Soon they would arrive at a place that would work perfectly. This truck would be better used for hunting than transporting, he thought to himself. Though he appeared calm and collected on the outside, inside he still seethed at the treatment he'd received from General Steuben. Yes, he had lost his prisoners. His men had gunned down the woman and child, but it was a single unfortunate mistake. He and his squad had captured more Jews than any other in the entire regiment. He was a genius at sniffing out their hiding places and imprisoning them, but all that had been undone by one single error. On they drove, the sergeant yammering away. Von Deusen was not sure whether Weigert even realized that his passenger had stopped participating in the conversation. Carl occupied himself by looking out the windshield at the passing countryside, waiting for the right spot to appear. Finally, after several more kilometers, he saw it. The road bisected two large wheat fields and was lined by irrigation ditches on either side. There were no houses or villages around for kilometers. "Halten," he ordered. "Mein Major?" "Halten Sie," Von Deusen repeated. "Mein Major, our order—" "I was given new orders before we left," he said. He pulled several sheets of folded paper from inside the coat pocket of his uniform. In reality, they were not official documents of any kind. But the sergeant did not know that. "Ja, mein Major," he said. With a shrug, he applied the brakes, and the large truck came to a lumbering stop in the middle of the road. "Now what, mein Major?" "Go to the rear of the truck, open the tailgate, and order the Juden out. Have them line up in front of the ditch." "Major?" Weigert was clearly confused by this request. "Do it! Schnell! Schnell!" Sensing something in his superior's voice, Weigert hurriedly opened the door and scrambled out. A few seconds later, Von Deusen heard the sergeant bark an order in Ukrainian. Even though it was a large truck, he felt it bounce as the Jews climbed out. He took a deep breath. Now was the time. Sergeant Weigert's machine gun lay on the seat next to him. He grabbed it, along with 2 extra clips of ammunition, and exited the vehicle. In the darkness, he could see the silhouettes of the prisoners milling about in the middle of the road. Weigert was trying to herd them in some sort of irrigation canal, but they ignored him. "All of you, line up in front of the ditch," Von Deusen commanded in his loudest, most serious tone. He did not speak Ukrainian and had to repeat himself twice, but eventually they did as he ordered. These Jews had no fight left in them. For months they had been hunted, beaten, tortured, starved, and imprisoned. Now they were resigned to their fates. Von Dusen stalked to the middle of the line. "Turn and face the field," he shouted. What could they do but comply? A few of the prisoners began to pray. When all of them had turned, Von Dusen racked the slide on the machine gun and pulled the trigger. The gun jumped in his hands as bullets leapt from the barrel. The noise was deafening. Lead ripped into the bodies before him. The children went down first, tumbling into the ditch. A few of the younger women tried to run, but they did not get far. When one of the old men tried to turn as if to fight, the bullets knocked him backward, and he fell screaming into the trench. Von Dusen walked to the edge and peered into the bodies. A few of them still moved. He inserted a fresh clip in the gun and fired at the bodies again. When the clip emptied and the bullets were gone and the night was silent again, finally it was done. He had not relished the task, but he needed the truck to find that old woman and save his career. This was the only way. He turned to find Sergeant Weigert staring at him in disbelief. "Mein Gott, Herr Major, was haben Sie getan?" "What have you done?" Von Dusen looked directly into the sergeant's eyes. He wanted to make sure this man understood him. "I have done, Sergeant, what needed to be done." He turned toward the truck. "Come, we have a long drive ahead of us." And that's the end of chapter 28. And we'll see you back here tomorrow with chapter 29.